Good morning. Let's do a quick sound check. Make sure everything is sounding good. All right, I think it is. Let's go ahead and view dashboard there. And set up chat on this computer.
And that was the expert picked Seihan.
Oh, come on, Twitch. You don't need to autoplay the videos and sound. That's what I get for not muting the mic while I'm setting everything up. And increase that size so I can actually see it. And all right, I think we're ready to go. Let's transition over. And good morning, happy Friday. So we got all this set up. Yesterday I was playing around a little bit with the code base. Didn't have too much time, but during the Node.js meetup I was able to set up the config file and be able to load it in. Unnamed outsider, good morning. All right, so let's where do I, all right, code mine brgg code. We'll open up code here. I haven't installed any other editors yet. I have been thinking quite seriously of trying CLion to see if that's better with whatever system they have for linting the code and running the compiler and seeing if everything is good or not. I don't think they use RLS. I think they have like a proprietary code quality checker. You quite like CLion? That's good. And good morning, stacking. So basically what I ended up doing was bringing in, getting the file and returning a file type and just passing in a mutable reference to that file type, to the configuration. JetBrains are good in general. They just look, yeah, I do actually have quite a bit of time finding things in JetBrains because every panel looks exactly the same as each other. But that just might be me. And maybe things are better. I could always hope, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to try it because I don't know if I've really seriously given it a try on a Linux system either. It's just a Mac and Windows before. VS Code is much more pretty. VS Code is really easy to find where things are. But I have to say, like, VS Code, Sublime Text, and Atom all have like the same general look and feel and the same general functionality. I guess that's another editor I could try is Sublime. We remember that one, right? Like everybody used Sublime for a while, and then it feels like everybody's been switching over to VS Code, but all right, so yeah, so what I did, got the file, I'm returning the file exactly, and then I'm able to pass this mutable reference to it, and that allows me to update the conf.toml. I set the window to 2000 and the height to 1000 just to make sure that it would like look completely and absolutely different, and the result is cargo run is this. It's a little bit big. So on my system, when I don't have it plugged into the capture card, it's a 4K display, so it's like little itty bitty tiny window still. But when I have it plugged in, it switched over to 1920 by 1080, I think, and clearly that's just a little bit big for us. Yeah, like Sublime, I'm actually surprised. I don't know like what's happened since then. It's been years since I looked at Sublime. Maybe it's like moved forward. I never really thought it was bad. It was just like, I guess it was just more proprietary and harder to write plugins for. Let's see. All right, so if we have all of that stuff and we're able to now take a look at these, what's sensible? Let's see, if I'm at 1920 by 1080, I want to cut that in half to be able to put on half the screen. In awe of the size of this mug. It's actually a relatively normal size mug, but I think the camera makes it look a little bit bigger. Plus, like, maybe it's the outside is bigger than the inside. Okay, so if I'm 1920 on the width, I have to do math now, divide that in half. It is, oh geez, 2000, not really, I guess 995. That's time for a calculator. 960. Okay, so I was off by 35. 960. That's why I have you all, because then I could use it as a calculator. And 1080. So let's just try 1080 and see if that's appropriate or if it's going to be blocked by this bar down here. Borderless is false. Oh, if it has a border, I might need to like change that. Full screen type off. VSync is on right now, and I'm not sure I want it to be on. Yeah, this doesn't. I think it holds like 1.5 cups of actual liquid. I guess if I go to like the very tippy top, it could be maybe 2 cups, but it would then spill over when I carry it down here. And I've actually got hot tea, so I get that nice caffeine when I drink it now. Let's see, full VSync, mid width, mid height. Okay, so I can set it so you can't really redraw it, which isn't really going to be a problem because I'm just doing it. Okay, title. Let's change this to Battle Royale Code. Bang. I don't have an icon file for it. I don't know if that's really important. Resizable false, allow high DPI. This might be, hey, how did I, mouse features. Samples 1, OpenGL, major, minor. Okay, so let's save this and let's try this again and see if it works any better. If I move you over to the right now, that does feel like half the screen, quite exactly. If I move code to the exact left, yeah, that's pretty much exactly the left side. I can't tell if this is the top or not because I can't actually see the bottom of it, which that might be a problem. I think it's been hidden just a little bit. So I think maybe a couple pixels off of the left and a bunch off of the bottom. So let's do that. Width, let's just make this 900. And let's make this 1000. Save you, quit you, and cargo run. All right, I think this is perfect. Because now we get our code, it just gets sits over here, and whatever we're doing with it just is nice and fun. Yeah, so yeah, that's exactly why I sort of removed a bunch of pixels, is because I have the status bar. Now I could say like borderless, which I don't know if it would remove the status bar or not, but I'm fully fine with just doing this size for right now. The code is pretty much not going to care, and when we go to do the simulation, we're essentially just not going to draw anything, which means that we could have as wide and large as we want. We have essentially no camera. Okay, so with that in mind, let's come back here and sort of take a look. I guess I could commit this. Set up the config. Push that on up. Okay, so with main starts the entire engine up. The engine then grabs a bot, and in fact, main is telling the engine how many bots it wants, which is why we get these 5. The bots don't get to say where they're going. Instead, the engine is telling them that. That may or may not be a good idea. I'm not exactly sure. I might want eventually to have the bots decide where to go, but if that's the case, then we'll have to tell them the width and height of the game screen, which also isn't that well. It's kind of important that they know how big the game is, because they need to know if they can like move infinitely to the left or right or not. Okay, so if I wanted to slowly continue moving towards outsourcing this bot into a thread, what I'm going to want to do is, here's this bot. What we could do is tell each bot to sort of move randomly, then figure out what's the parts of the bot. Well, actually, there'll be an update part, right? So like draw is going to have to be out here, but the update, that's where we tell it like, hey, go do something, and it will go into a thread and then just do something. So maybe, also, I don't remember having this set up like that. So this is another thing that VS Code is. I don't actually think that it's running the what is it, the code prettier version for Rust. I can't remember what it's called. I know it's installed, but I don't think VS Code has a plugin yet to work with it. Rust FMT, yes, Rust format. That's it. I don't think it's running properly in code. Okay, so if I had update and I wanted these to move around, then inside of lib, we would have our update function, and we're going to have to then tell the bots to just sort of move, I guess like move randomly, just like move around. And I could just have them move like, 1 pixel each direction randomly, and we'll just have a bunch of random walkers. That'll be good. We could also change the size because these are really large, but that would be inside of the bot itself. So we're going to need an update function. It's going to take the context, and whatever else that we need, we'll figure that out. So let's open up bot. And we're going to add in a function update. So pub function update. This is going to take a mutable reference to self and the context, which is going to be a mutable context. So that way we're not overwriting it. And we can also return a game result, because that's how things roll here. Also, multi-line. Okay, so with you, that run test button jumping up and down like crazy. Where's the, oh, because it's like, Yeah, they're auto-injecting it, so it's not really in a line, but they're taking up a line. Yeah, it gets, I guess as I'm adding lines, they're like doing different things. From what I understand, they're using the Shadow DOM to try to be really fast when doing these updates, but I'm not sure if the code behind it to choose where to put it is like the fastest either. Okay, so if we have update here and I just want it to like move in a random direction, we have our location. We would potentially want to have functions to like move it up, down, left, or right. So we could have a function to choose where to move. So we're gonna have to have rand, aren't we? So let's bring that in. We actually have that in lib. So I can use extern create rand, and we'll grab this, and we'll just remember that it's thread RNG and then rand gen range. That's really it. Okay, so extern create rand. We'll use rand thread RNG range. Then in update, we'll get a new random number. So let RNG equals thread RNG. I don't think this returns. Yeah, no. Okay, so then, okay, so let random equals RNG dot, is it not dot? Is it dot dot? No. Did I? Dot gen range. Okay, so it's just not autofilling to tell me what it's supposed to be. So gen range. Will now you tell me what it's supposed to be? No, of course not, because VS Code can't figure it out. Okay, so this is going to be between 0.0 and maybe 10.0. So it could be like 10 pixels, up to 10 pixels jump at a time. So if we have that, and I wonder, I could do negative, can't I? So yeah, okay. So I could do like maybe negative 10.0 to 10.0, and I'll just apply this to the X and Y individually, and that will make it move up and down automatically without having to do anything crazy here. So we can now do self.location.x plus, and here's where we should really do let x new, let x random, let random x. And we're going to do the exact same thing for random y. So self.location.x plus random x, self.location.y plus random y. And I don't think we really need to do anything else. Just doing this will cause the locations to change, that when it does the draw, they'll draw on a new location, so it will jump around just a little bit. I do need to return an OK. And that should make everything happier. Except before I test it, I do need to remember to call update. Okay, so we say let RNG equals this. Borrow. Okay, so this needs to be mute. unused arithmetic operation which must be plus equals. That should make it happier. And context is not being used, so let's go ahead and just not use that. And then in draw should be fine. In librs, we now need to just call update for every single bot. So in update here, we'll multi-line this, and okay. For bot in mute self.bots, we'll do bot.update. Update takes in the context, so this doesn't need to be underscore anymore. And we could just question mark this because of game result. And that hopefully should do it. All the bots should now dance around. All right, just like that. Oh, they're kind of freaking spazzing out now. So everything was fine when it was just drawing like in a single location like that. But now that it's, now that they're drawing around, they're kind of creating craziness. Let's turn that off. So there is a way to clear the screen, and I think it's in Lib. We have this graphics present. I think at the beginning of draw, we need to do a graphics. Is there a clear? Clear. And we're going to pass it the CTX. I'm actually surprised that clear doesn't return a game result. All right, so let's try this and see if we still get craziness. Apocalyptico, good morning. I am not working at a standing desk. I am sitting down. But I guess I like sort of set my my camera just high enough that it looks like maybe I want to get one. That would be really nice. Okay, so I want to get a convertible one. That would be nicer, but they're really expensive. So I don't know if you can see, like we're seeing weird tearings at the edge. So that might be that VSync problem. Let's try turning VSync off. I mean, they're faster now. They're definitely faster. So VSync helped with that, but I don't know, I can't tell because they're moving so fast. And then they wander off the screen. But I mean, this seems like it's fine. I think they're moving fast enough that they're sort of like shadowing over each other in my physical, like my eyes. I could probably slow them down, and then that would help. But okay, what I want to do as the next step is move the sort of logic to tell the game to move them randomly into a thread that then just returns this code, because that's going to be the next step towards having external code run in a Docker container in a thread. So in bot.rs, all of that sort of decision logic is right here. And essentially this is where we apply the logic, but we ask the bot like, hey, what do you want to do right here? We get the result, and then we actually do this. So what I'm thinking is we could tell this to say like, okay, have like a move left, move right, move up, and move down, and set that, like add the number of pixels that we want to move by as input for that we can get where we want to move, call the appropriate and call the appropriate version. So let's actually do that now. I don't think we can use generics for this because each one is going to apply to a different direction. And I think it's easier to have like move up, move down, move left and right, but that may be wrong in the future. So cool thing is these are testable. So we can actually write test-driven development for these ones. So let's create a new test. Okay, so for this test, the name is going to be move left. It's unimplemented, that's fine. All right, what do we need? We need a new bot. So that bot equals bot new. And let's give it like 300.0, 300.0. Let direction. Well, I don't even know if I need to say like what direction is. I could just do it essentially. We'll then do bot dot move left. I don't know if this shouldn't have a problem because it's attached to bot. Okay, so bot that move left, and we're going to pass it. We don't need the context. We just need to pass it in like what the amount that we want to move left by. So let's add this into a variable here. So let move distance equals 50.0. So we're going to move left by distance. And what do we don't expect to get anything out of that. Is that? Yeah, I think it should just work, right? So that should just be a semicolon there. And now we can assert equal that the bot dot location dot x is going to be, so x move left, that's going to be 250.0. What if I'm at, I'll get to that. Right now, I'm just going to let it move past the border, but later on, I'll put in the logic for that. And this test will obviously have to take that into account. But yes, that is a really good point, Miguel. Okay, so bot location.x and assert location. This should be 300.0 and this will be y. So y should be unchanged. TR Pap, good morning. Okay, so this should all be fine. We're getting an error because move left doesn't exist. That's fine. So let's now go implement that. So we'll have, can I do just function? Do I need to make this public just for the test? Function move left, this takes an immutable reference to self and it takes distance, which is an F32. It doesn't return anything at all. What are these passing? So basically they're random walkers that are moving within a negative 10 to 10 distance. And there's, I think, 5 of them, but most of them are off the screen now. But it's sort of like, yeah, it's close enough, right? We could totally ship this. People want to play this game, right? Okay, so we're going to move left. This is really just going to say self.location.x minus equals distance. And that's pretty much it. It's just something nice and simple. Okay, so now it's upset that we're not calling it, but that's fine. Let's save this and run our test. Are you... Okay, so you need to be mutable here. All right, let's go ahead and run our tests. Cargo test. Running 3 tests, succeeded, perfect, okay. And because of that, we can now add in all of the other ones too into here. So the next question is, should we have a single function that's like move, like the same function for move right, and it's just a move, and it just does different addings? I don't know, like that's a good question of like, does the bot want to say like move by negative 50 pixels and it just doesn't add to it? So that might be a better way to do things, is like add just a sum. And move towards the vectors. It's really up to the API implementation, yeah. And that's what I'm thinking about the API implementation. I'm thinking I am gonna want to do... I think it's gonna be easier for me and maybe for other people to grok if I do... if I don't have like a move left that will do a negative to this number, because you might forget that and like put a negative on because you want it to move left, but that would actually cause it to move right because I'm negativing it, and it gets really weird at that point. So instead of a distance, if I put a vector in here, if I had a vector, not the Rust vector, but like a mathematical vector, like for example, a point, then I would be able to, I'll be able to just sum up those points. And I kind of wonder if I can create a trait for those points and then just add them together. So let's start with changing the test and making it a little bit better. So if I change this to move, so we're going to have our bot instead of a distance, let's just have let move vector. Not sure the best way to sort of put that. It kind of is a distance though, isn't it? It's a point on the map. So maybe distance is correct. So let distance equals 0.2 new. And then we're going to have the new x and y coordinates essentially, well, the x and y coordinates of how much we want it to move by. So if it's going to be x, it's going to be negative 50.0 and 0.0 here. Then I want to just move. So this is going to be move by. Also, why are you blue? Is move important? Oh, move is a keyword. Okay, so move bot. We'll change this to move bot. Move bot, hand it distance, And it's now going to assert equal bot location X is 2. Okay, so then everything else should be fine. I'll save this. Of course, move bot doesn't exist, so we're gonna have to go change that here. So this will become a move bot. It takes a distance, which is now a 0.2. And I would really love if I could just plus equals distance. But cannot add assign point to F32. Oh, it shouldn't. Have you not updated? All right, let's save this and actually run cargo test and see if I can get the actual error. Okay, so no implementation for F32 plus equals GGEZ. Interesting. I thought that this was a 0.2. So therefore, oh, right. I don't want location X, I want location. That's what I want. Here is this. This is the more appropriate one. So cannot add assign a point to a point, and that's really it. So the trait. Oh, hold on. Let's just do it here. The trait standard ops add assign is not implemented for GGEZ and algebra point. F32 GGEZ and algebra U2. So what I want to do is implement that if possible. So let's see what I need to do to do that. I think that would be up here, right? Is that, we do that kind of in lib, right? It's implement vanilla 4. Okay, so implement it's standard ops add assign. So if I bring in that, use standard ops add assign. So implement add assign for 0.2. And I haven't actually done this since the book, so I need to go look up how to properly. Only traits defined in a current crate can be implemented for arbitrary types. Implement doesn't use types inside crate. Oh, so wait, I can't implement add assign for 0.2 because it's not inside the crate? Is that, am I reading that correct? So I can only implement add assign for something created off standard. So maybe I could create my own trait and then add that. I think that's what it's trying to tell me. Let's go look this up. So this will be Rust lang implement trait. Oh, all the announcements about traits. Rest documentation on traits. Okay, so public trait summarizable. I guess we could take a look at the book again. Oh, that's actually decently dark now. All right, that's better. Okay, so we want to make a media aggregate. So what was this? This was, we need to request a summary by calling a summarize method on an instance. So we're creating a summary trait that will force us to implement summarize, and this is basically just the function signature. And then we implement summary for news articles, which forces us to write summarize, and then how it actually works. So I think this might be what I have to do, but it's not quite as nice as being able to do like the plus for that. Or is it telling me that I haven't? The implement does not reference any types defined in this crate. Oh, okay, so I can't actually do that here. I would have to do a pull request to GGEZ, add that in, and then pull that down in order to get that functionality. So instead of can I do this? Like instead of add assign, can we get rid of this and then just said what was it? It was just trait summary. So if I do trait add, or maybe trait like math, there are some limitations to custom traits for external libraries because of possible conflicts or something like that. I could totally see that is people don't want like necessarily overwriting. Although I could see potentially being able to override in that way, but because I'm like being very explicit about it in a code, maybe that's okay. But I could totally understand them saying like, nope, you're just create your own and then just use that instead. Okay, so we're gonna have public. We're gonna have trait math, and we're gonna want to have this be a what is we want add. So we want function add. This is gonna take a mutable reference to self, and it's also gonna take a point, I guess it'll be a point, which is a point 2. And it's going to return a point 2. And then what we're going to say is, oh, we don't have to give the actual implementation. It's just this, right? Yeah. So then implement math for is 4, right? Yeah, implement. Oh, should I be doing? I should probably. Can I do this as capital? Kind of want to change this now to vector. Maybe point math would be best. Point math. For point 2. Yeah. Security. Oh. Yeah, you could make a crate that overloads the rand crate. Like, yeah. Theoretically, if someone were to do that, they wouldn't be able to hide it though, right? Because it would have to be in plain sight in the code. But I could also see like that could get through a code review maybe. People might not be able to see it. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find out whether or not we're allowed to do this. Yeah, I mean, so I'm able to implement this on an external like crate, external something else that I'm able to do. You couldn't hide it, but that would require a code audit. Yeah, well, I mean, everything should require a code audit regardless, because I mean, what if the people that are writing RAND just changed it to always return the same number. I mean, they could still do that. So what if they went rogue, what would stop them? Would we find it? I mean, I guess that's the question. Okay, so we have add. So we're gonna now implement add. So function add is gonna take a mutable reference to self and a point, which is a type of point2, and we're going to return a point2. And so now we get to say, okay, actually, I don't think we need a mutable reference to self, do we? I was thinking about down here, but we don't. I don't think we need... Oh, I think we just need a reference to self. It'll yell at us when we don't need it properly. Okay, so we want to return... So we want to mutate the point. We do. We want to mutate the point. So maybe we do need a mutable reference to self. Okay, so we want to say self.x is going to be a plus equals to point.x. And self.y is plus equals to point.y. Okay, so expected struct. Oh, so it's not a point. Wait, what do I have? Expected struct ggz n algebra point found just nothing. ggz n algebra point f32. Okay, so point two isn't self? What is self? It's just a point. And this is a type point two. Okay. I'm kind of wondering, would it be a better, if I want to start doing this type of math thing, would it be better for me? I guess I could assign a new point. I kind of want to just do like a point2 dot add something, like add another, put another point2 in there, and then it just changes the, like mutates the original. But if self is, all right, we need to go take a look at the actual documentation of what we got here. So it is, there, this will work. And we want a point2. Okay, so it's the graphics point2. Type point2 equals point2 f32, which is the n algebra point2. Point2 of n is really a point of n u2. Okay? So a point of n of u2, I'm going to have to do the trait off of this, aren't I? I mean, at this point in time, I'm kind of wondering, would it be better for me to just create my own vector instead of like point2, because I'm not actually sure I'm using any of the features of point2 at all. And this is kind of going down a rabbit hole of like, okay, we're gonna have to implement off of point and add in add, and I'm not seeing any adds in here. Yeah. Trait implementation, so like debug, hash, copy, clone, all the normal things. There's sub. Is that subtract or is it something else? Type output equals vector sum. The resulting type after applying the minus operator. Okay, so they're attempting to do that, but it's only for some OU1, but not for U2s. That's the problem. That's our problem, is that it's not implemented for U2, which is what a point two really is. So it might be what do you all think about me implementing it? I guess like I'll have to create a new library, I guess maybe in a library, or I just have in create another file in here that will be a point system, like our vector, and so we'll use that instead of point two. And then that way we can implement this vector math on it really easily, and it'll be much easier to do. Out of curiosity, can I go to the Rust Lang playground? Oh wait, I just clicked on the first one without checking. Is the playground off of this page? I don't see it. I don't think it is. No. Where is it? Am I just missing it? Why isn't the SEO finding it on this right now? I think it's play. Yeah, like this is crazy that DuckDuckGo can't find this link. The SEO is not good. Play, I think it's like it's that link right there. So it's play.rustlang.org. Yeah, thank you, Stacking. Okay, so what I want to do is just create my own vector. So let's do quick struct vector 2. Vector 2. This will have an x, which is an F32, and a y, which is an F32. And I want to implement add assign for vector 2. If I run this, will it yell at me about not having... Oh, cannot find track add assign. So let's bring this in. Use standard ops add assign. Oh, not all trait implementations added. Okay, so what is it missing? Missing add assign. So function add assign. What do you take in? It's mutable reference to self and the right hand side Yes, Miguel, you're correct. So we actually see that in algebra on point 1 does have the math operators assigned to it, but point 2 is based upon point 1, but without the traits set up. And it's not really easy to set those traits because they're for like different sides. So it feels like just adding up my own is going to be easier here. But okay, so we need the right hand side here. So is this a generic? Am I reading that correct? As that this is actually, you know what? Just going to the standard docs is going to be easier. Can I go to docsrs, add assign? Without that weird slash in the end. No. Oh, standard library. That's what I want. Add assign. Standard ops add assign. Implement add assign for point. Okay, so this is literally how to do what I want to do, which is function implement add assign for point. This is exactly what I wanted. Function add assign mute self, other is the point. Okay, so Rust playground, this will be point, and it needs to be my type of vector 2. So a vector 2. And then we'll just say self.x plus equals point.x, self.y plus equals point.y. And then in main, we're going to want to let my vector equals vector 2. We'll do an x and a y. So x is like 10.0 and y is 10.0. We'll not forget a semicolon. Let vector 2, vector 2 equals vector 2. X is 5.0. Y is 0.0. Then I want to say, okay, vector dot add assign and hand it in vector 2. And then we want to just print out. So print line and this is going to be vector dot x vector dot y, put in another one like that. Let's see if this works. Cannot borrow immutable variable local vector vector. Okay, so this needs to be mutable, of course. 1510. Okay, so that works exactly what I want. All right, so I'll be able to do this next time, and we're just going to create our own. We're just going to create our own stuff, and it'll be fine. We could implement add assign for it. We won't have to like override or do any craziness, and everything will be good. Everything will be much better. Okay, so that's a plan. What I'll be doing later, yeah, I don't have anything else. So thank you everybody for stopping by and watching. I want to update and send. I'm just going to delete this. There's no reason to have it in there. We're going to have our test where we want to. Do I have an add? Not there. Oh yeah, I have add assign here. It's not working yet. That's fine. Gonna close all you. We're gonna add everything, and work in progress. Need to add assign. and create my own point 2. All right, so I'll send this on up. Let's go get my code and I'll share it into the chat, and then I'll head off and go do the rest of my day. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day, even if it's coming to an end. Okay, so this was BR. And here you all go. With that, thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you all on the plan is see you all on Monday morning. I'll tweet out if I'm I'll tweet out the time that I'm planning on streaming. Yeah, absolutely. TR Pap, no problem. I'm glad that you were able to listen in, but also be able to get stuff done. So with that, I'll see you all next time.